here's your wrestling news for March 6, 2022. And your headlines for today include Brock Lesnar busted open badly after WWE Championship defense at MSG. Brock Lesnar discusses possibility of a return to UFC. Asuka reacts to reports that she is medically cleared to wrestle again. Lawler returning to WWE Raw next week. Chris Jericho explains why he turned down being an AEW EVP. Get off your lazy ass and go do something with yourself. Brock Lesnar defends previous comments about younger talents. Former WWE champion is now a Hillsborough County, Florida deputy sheriff. WWE Live from Madison Square Garden results, and more. We are kicking off today with last night's WWE event inside Madison Square Garden, as the company treats any event at their old stomping ground as a big deal. Last night's event was the final major stop on the road to WrestleMania 38, and rumors were buzzing about possible surprises, especially after voices like Fightful and WrestleVotes reported hearing that big things could happen. Theories ranged between Cody Rhodes returning to Stone Cold starting his program with Kevin Owens to Brock Lesnar losing the WWE Championship to a mystery opponent. That last one was particularly interesting, as Lesnar was going to face a mystery opponent selected by Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and with cameras rolling for this match, it's not hard to see why fans in NYC thought a title change was imminent. Instead, what we got was Austin Theory, who was flattened by Lesnar in a 3-minute main event. It was only after the match did it become clear why the match was filmed, as after the bell, Roman Reigns appeared alongside the Usos while Lesnar held his own at first. It was a distraction by Paul Heyman that turned the tide, allowing the Tribal Chief to lay waste to his WrestleMania opponent with a steel chair. The Universal Champion busted open Brock and laid him out with a rock bottom onto the steel steps, and their altercation concluded with Reigns standing on top, holding both the WWE and Universal Championships. When Reigns recovered, the busted open beast seemed very happy about what happened, which is more than what can be said for some fans in the Garden. With all the hype WWE had given the show, some had become convinced that a title change was going to take place, but we'll wait until WrestleMania to see either Lesnar or Reigns drop their title to the other. Lesnar may be one of WWE's top stars, but in 2007 he was in a much different ring when he signed with UFC. After a dominant 4-year run, Brock left UFC and returned to WWE, and though he did fight at UFC 200 in 2016, his days inside the octagon are over. Speaking to Sports Illustrated, Lesnar was asked about a possible return, but said that it's a young man's sport and that he's far too old to go back. At 44 years old, Lesnar is nearly a decade older than reigning UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, and the only rings he'll be stepping into anymore are those at WWE events. Now at Money in the Bank 2021, Asuka competed in the women's ladder match in what is her most recent match to date. A shoulder injury has kept the Empress of Tomorrow on the shelf for close to a year now, and fans are hoping to see her back soon. Earlier this week, it was reported that Asuka had been medically cleared to return after dealing with her injury, but that may no longer be the case. On Twitter, Asuka addressed the rumors of her being cleared to wrestle again, as this is clearly the first time she's hearing that she can wrestle again. In January, it was believed that Asuka would compete in the Women's Royal Rumble match, and it was claimed last month she'd be back before WrestleMania. Ultimately, conflicting reports means we can't say for sure what Asuka's condition is, but for now, the former Raw Women's Champion remains on the shelf. Over to Raw, as plenty has been booked for tomorrow night's event in Cleveland, Ohio. Via social media, it was confirmed that Jerry the King Lawler will be making his first Raw appearance in nearly 2 years, and Edge is also slated to appear, hopefully to explain his attack on AJ Styles. A special homecoming party has been announced for The Miz and Logan Paul ahead of their WrestleMania 38 match with the Mysterios. After being attacked by the A-lister and the boxing YouTuber, the Mysterios are looking for revenge, and as past parties in the ring have shown, these celebrations rarely go according to plan. AEW news now, as Chris Jericho has been a fundamental part of the company since day one and was AEW's very first world champion. Jericho has been with AEW just as long as the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and now even longer than Cody Rhodes, but is yet to become an executive vice president of the promotion. With decades of experience within the industry, Jericho would have made a great EVP, but in an interview with Sports Illustrated, explained why he never took on the role. They asked me and I said, "No, that's way too much for what you're planning on doing. And Tony Khan's the boss anyways. I knew that from the start, so I wasn't going to play and use EVP as an ego boost. F that." With Cody Rhodes leaving AEW and his wife Brandy resigning as the company's chief brand officer, there's something of a power vacuum right now, but Jericho has no plans other than being a pro wrestler. More Brock Lesnar news now, as not too long ago, the WWE champion ruffled some feathers when he spoke to Pat McAfee and claimed that younger stars aren't doing enough to get over. Instead, Lesnar believes that younger talent are relying on individual moves to try and get over, though many fired back at Brock, saying that the part-time WWE champion doesn't know what it's like for your lower-card superstar. Speaking to Newsday this week, Lesnar doubled down on his initial claims, saying, "They can come up with all kinds of excuses if they want to. That's easy to do, but get out there and do something with yourself. Everybody wants to bash the guys that get over or are successful. They always want to undercut it because they can't figure it out. I'll outwork anybody. That's just what I do. I'll be 45 and I look as good as I do, and I feel good, you know? Get off your lazy ass and go do something with yourself instead of taking your handout check." Lesnar's strategy has clearly worked for him, as he's now in his 10th World Championship reign in WWE, and time will tell if anyone takes the advice of the Beast Incarnate. And we're ending today with Ric Flair, who has been made an honorary deputy in Hillsborough County, Florida. After going for a ride with local police, the Nature Boy was given the ceremonial honor from Sheriff Chad Chronister, and Flair thanked him for the gesture on social media. Now Flair has a badge, so any would-be criminals watching this video from Hillsborough County should think twice before breaking the law, or they could wind up on the end of a figure 4 leg lock by Deputy Flair. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.